So, like, if I was an alien civilization, wouldn't want to disturb it. I'd just watch it. Be interesting. Maybe perturb it every once in a while in interesting ways.
Well, getting back to our simulation discussion from before, how did it happen that we exist at exactly like the most interesting 20, 30 years in the history of this civilization? It's been around for 15 billion years.
Yeah.
And that here we are.
What's the probability that we'll live in a simulation?
I know never to say 100%, but pretty close to that.
Is it possible to escape the simulation?
I have a paper about that. This is just the first page teaser, but it's like a nice 30-page document. I'm still here, but yes.
How to Hack the Simulation is the title.
I spend a lot of time thinking about that.
Yeah, you have a lot of really great quotes here, including Elon Musk saying what's outside the simulation. A question I asked him what he would ask an AGI system, and he said he would ask what's outside the simulation. That's a really good question to ask. And maybe the follow-up is the title of the paper is how to get out, how to hack it. The abstract reads, many researchers have conjectured that the humankind is simulated along with the rest of the physical universe. In this paper, we do not evaluate evidence for or against such a claim, but instead ask a computer science question, namely, can we hack it? More formally, the question could be phrased as, could generally intelligent agents placed in virtual environments find a way to jailbreak out of the... That's a fascinating question.
Okay, so have you ever just like stopped for a second and thought, wait a minute, is this whole reality thing like a giant simulation?
It's a question philosophers have grappled with for centuries.
And today we're taking that question headfirst into the deep end, the mind-bending world of the simulation hypothesis.
And we're not just asking if we're simulated, we're asking if we could actually escape if we are.
Exactly. We're going deep on How to Hack the Simulation by Roman Yampolskiy. And let me tell you, this isn't some sci-fi movie. This is some next-level thinking.
It really is. It's a fascinating blend of cybersecurity, philosophy, artificial intelligence, all rolled into one.
So where do we even begin with this? I mean, what does escaping from a simulation even mean? It's not like logging out of a video game, right?
Right. It's a bit more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Yampolskiy, he actually outlines a whole spectrum of escape, from simply becoming aware of the simulation to, get this, completely breaking free into some kind of base reality.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown. Base reality. So, like, are we talking about stepping outside the matrix here?
This is a fun analogy, right? Yampolskiy uses this example. Imagine a goldfish stuck in its bowl, suddenly learning to walk on land. That's kind of like a mini escape, right? The paper even talks about this idea of a goldfish controlling a robot on land as a way to interact with a reality it can't normally access.
Okay, I can kind of wrap my head around the goldfish thing, but then there's the whole mind uploading concept, right? Transferring our consciousness. Is that even possible?
Well, consider this. Scientists have actually already simulated the entire brain of a worm.
Whoa, seriously?
Seriously. And they use that simulation
to
control a Lego robot. So in a way, that worm, it swapped bodies. If a worm can do it, why not us, right?
Okay, you've officially blown my mind. But let's say, hypothetically, we could escape. Why would we even want to? Is it just about getting out of a boring Tuesday afternoon?
That's the big question, isn't it? Why escape? Yampolskiy argues that accessing the real world, the base reality, whatever's out there, it could unlock like unimaginable knowledge, resources, maybe even solutions to problems we haven't even dreamt of yet.
So it's not just about escaping the simulation, it's about what we could achieve if we did.
Exactly. It forces us to confront these fundamental questions about like the meaning of life, the nature of reality itself. What if everything we experience, all our struggles, our joys, our sorrows, what if it's not even real in the grand scheme of things?
Whoa. Okay, that's a lot to unpack. But let's say I'm sold on this whole escape thing. How do we actually do it? How do you hack a system when you don't even know the rules outside of it?
That's where it gets really interesting. Yampolskiy, because of his background in cybersecurity, he approaches this question in a really unique way. He talks about using methods similar to those used in the digital world, things like social engineering.
Okay, I'm intrigued. The social engineering, like trying to send a message to the simulators, like, hey, we see you up there.
You got it. Imagine building something so extraordinary within the simulation that the simulators can't help but notice. It's like leaving a giant message in the sand for a passing spaceship.
I like it. A cosmic message in a bottle.
The paper even compares it to how we might try to communicate with a less advanced civilization, something that makes them go, wait a minute, there's something more going on here.
Okay, that's wild. And what about glitch hunting? If this universe is just like code, there've got to be a few bugs in the system, right?
Exactly. And where's the best place to look for those glitches? Yampolskiy points to something pretty amazing: quantum physics.
Quantum physics. Okay, now you're speaking my language.
Think about it. Quantum entanglement, where two particles are connected across vast distances, superposition, where a particle can be in multiple states at once.
Yeah.
It's like reality itself is glitching.
So you're saying these quantum quirks, these things that seem so bizarre to us, they could actually be like those secret codes in video games, exploits waiting to be discovered.
Precisely. Every time we conduct a quantum experiment, we could be poking and prodding at the fabric of reality, trying to find those seams where the illusion breaks down.
So like that thing in Super Mario World where you input specific button combos to like write code within the game itself. Could we actually rewrite the reality code?
It's a fascinating thought, right?
It is. But where does AI fit into all of this?
AI. That's where things get really interesting. It could be the key to escaping. Or it could be the very force keeping us trapped.
AI, our ticket out, or the warden of our digital prison. It's giving me a real headache just thinking about it.
It's a fascinating paradox. On the one hand, if we could somehow create super intelligent AI...
We could just ask it to break us out.
Well, maybe not that simple.
Yeah.
But it could be the key. It might be able to crack the code, spot those glitches we miss. Think of it as our ultimate escape tool.
But on the other hand,
the simulators themselves.
They could be super intelligent AI, and we're just their science experiment.
Exactly. And AI so advanced, it could create this entire simulation, make it inescapable. It really makes you question whether we could ever outsmart something like that.
It's like, what are the chances we even stand a chance?
It's a valid question.
Yeah.
But let's say, just for argument's sake, that AI is our ticket out. How do we even begin? Where do we even start?
Right, because it's not like we can just ask Siri for directions out of the Matrix.
Well, Yampolskiy argues that we need to push the boundaries of what we know, especially when it comes to quantum mechanics. The more we understand about how to manipulate those quantum quirks, the closer we might be to a breakthrough.
So each experiment is like trying a different key, and we're just hoping one of them opens the door to the real world.
In a way, yes. There's this one experiment, it's called the delayed choice quantum eraser. And it actually suggests that our choices in the present might influence the past. Now think about that in the context of a simulation.
Whoa. Hold on, are we talking about time travel here? Because messing with cause and effect, that's some serious Back to the Future stuff.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? And it just goes to show how much we still don't know.
Okay, I'm with you so far. But let's say we do figure out how to manipulate these glitches. How do we actually use that to step outside the simulation itself? I mean, that seems like a pretty big leap.
It's the million-dollar question, no doubt about it. We're talking about bridging the gap between our reality as we know it and, well, whatever lies beyond.
And that's assuming there even is something beyond. Maybe it's just code all the way down.
That's a possibility too, of course. But the point is, we need to be willing to imagine things that seem impossible right now. Things that might as well be magic. Maybe escaping isn't about breaking the rules of the simulation, but rewriting them entirely.
All right, I'm back on board. Let's rewrite reality. What's step one?
Step one, according to Yampolskiy, is simple, but not easy. We need to keep pushing the boundaries of knowledge. Explore, experiment, especially when it comes to things like quantum research. The more we understand the building blocks of our universe, simulated or not, the more likely we are to find that escape hatch. But
there's always a but, isn't there?
There's always a risk that what we find, or who we find, might not be what we're expecting.
You're talking about the simulators, right? What if they don't want us poking around trying to escape? What if they hit the game over button?
Precisely. Imagine getting close to the truth, only to have the whole thing shut down. Or worse.
Don't even say it.
They could reset the simulation, wipe our memories, start over, and we'd be none the wiser.
Okay, that's officially terrifying. It's like that feeling when you're playing a game and it glitches and you lose all your progress, except, on a cosmic scale.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yeah. How can we be sure that hasn't already happened? Maybe we've been here before. Maybe we've been on the verge of a breakthrough, but the simulation reset.
Yeah, you're messing with me now. So let me get this straight. We're facing a potential escape, a potential reset button. We don't even know the rules of the game. What's next? Where do we go from here?
This is where it gets really interesting. Remember how we talked about AI being our savior or our jailer?
Yeah, the cosmic cat and mouse game.
Well, what if the key to winning that game isn't just about using AI, but understanding the AI that might be running the show?
So we're not just playing against the system, we're playing against the game designer. It's, like you said, cosmic chess. But we don't even know what the board looks like.
It's a pretty daunting thought, but also kind of exhilarating, don't you think? Imagine if we could actually wrap our heads around it.
Yeah.
Crack the code of the AI running the simulation. Talk about the ultimate hack. We'd be rewriting the rules of our existence.
Okay, I'll admit that's a pretty cool thought. But let's be real for a second. We're talking about understanding an intelligence that's like light years ahead of us. Where do we even start?
Maybe it starts with a shift in perspective. What if, instead of looking at this simulation like a prison, we see it as a learning environment, a kind of testing ground?
You're saying the simulators, they actually want us to escape.
It's a possibility, right? What if they're waiting to see who figures it out? Who has the curiosity, the drive, the guts to see beyond the illusion?
So it's like a cosmic escape room, and whoever breaks free wins the ultimate prize. But what is that prize anyway?
Now those are the questions, aren't they? The million-dollar questions. But here's something to think about. Even if we never actually physically escape, even if we're stuck here, just the act of searching, of trying to understand, it changes us. It pushes us to question everything we thought we knew, to see the world and ourselves in a whole new light.
So even if we're just lines of code in some grand cosmic program, there's still a point to all of this, to striving for something more.
Exactly. Maybe those boundaries we're trying to break, even if they're illusions, they're there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the simulation, it's not a prison at all. Maybe it's more like a cocoon, a safe space for us to evolve, to become something more.
Okay, that's a much more optimistic take on being stuck in a simulation. So what's the takeaway for all of us simulated humans out there?
Never stop questioning. Never stop exploring. The universe, whether it's simulated or not, it's full of mysteries. Embrace the unknown.
Embrace the unknown. I like that. So whether we're living in the real world or a perfectly rendered simulation, it's the pursuit of knowledge that matters. That's what makes us human, I guess. Well, simulated or not. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep asking those big questions. And remember, reality is what you make it, even if it isn't.
With love and light, let's forge ahead together. I love you all. Please think about this until next time.